Gary, Two Cops, One Call. This is season 2, episode 12.
12.
I had to look real quick.
Yeah, man.
I forgot which episode it was. On this episode, we're going to give an update on the case against Officer Lunsford. Mm-hmm. We're also going to discuss an article, a really interesting article I read about an alarming trend in rural communities, rural police departments. If we have time, we're going to look at a wild video out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
With some gunplay.
Dude,
And then
gunplay is the best play, dude.
And then I also saw this weird technology coming out of China, as Trump says, in law enforcement. This weird robot thing.
Oh yeah, that's super cool, man.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get to that or not, but I think we should though.
All right, let's talk about it, dude. It's funny. I watched it. I watched a couple videos about like policing in China. It was pretty interesting.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
What did you learn?
Well, I'll tell you later.
Oh, tell me right now.
Oh, so I saw the one that sphere thing.
Yeah.
It's basically like a ball with like all kinds of stuff on the side of it, and it kind of patrols with the.
Yeah, it's like rolling along.
Yeah.
Rolling along beside the officers.
The one I saw, it was controlled by a person.
Okay.
The other one seemed like a future type robot, where it basically was on its own. You couldn't see anybody with it, and it's just doing its thing. And then it sees like somebody robbing something or something like that. And it basically chases them down,
right?
And like runs into them, and then it like shoots like a net around the perp.
So that's the video I sent you.
Okay.
I think.
I couldn't open it up, so I just Googled some stuff.
I thought you could open that one. Anyways, so you looked up. So there's like all kinds of stuff out there.
It does seem like it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that one, it's just like this big rolling tire, basically.
Yeah.
And it stays, it looks like it's just, I don't know.
There's some gyro in there that keeps it
just
like I mean, it's a real thick tire, so
yeah.
It's like a real beefy tire that kind of like...
Right. And obviously, if you've subscribed to us on YouTube, you're seeing the video of this thing.
Oh yeah.
You know, but it looks pretty aggressive. I'm not sure if it runs someone over, if it just boop boop like a speed bump.
Yeah, like it runs into them and knocks them down, and then shoots like a
shot some sort of net over a guy.
It'd be cool if it was like a tased, like a what's the correct term?
Tase?
No, like electrified. Not electrified. It's like
electronic control weapon.
I don't know, dude. It doesn't matter.
Electronic control
device?
When
you zap a dude, like if it had zappers in it, so it goes around you and then zaps you. That'd be cool, man. And just like the movies, they get knocked out, right? Every time you zap, and then you're down.
Now you're down.
You're down.
You're down and out. But it looked like it could also go into water.
Oh yeah, it was like floating in water.
Yeah,
dude, it's crazy.
Yeah,
dude, I would light that thing up if it was chasing me. But there's very little guns in China. So like in the U.S. though, man, you get some rural fella jumping out of his pickup truck and be
tweaking
like,
on meth.
That thing's
tweaking
done.
On meth.
Yeah.
Did you see a video? There was a video floating around. I don't know if it's old or new, but and again, I didn't look into it. I don't even know if it's real. But cops pull up on a truck, and there's Bubba on the back. He's like 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's pounding beers and stuff. And the driver of the truck takes off with Bubba in the back.
Okay.
And Bubba's so big, like he can't keep his balance.
Yeah.
So he's like rolling around in the back of the truck. It's hilarious.
So it's like that video.
They're on a dirt road.
Oh yeah.
And Bubba's just like rolling around in the back of this truck as they take off. One guy takes off running, the other guy takes off in the truck.
Bubba ain't running.
Back. Bubba is throwing beer cans at the. I'm like, cops? Is this for real?
Dude, that's funny.
I mean,
the cops get him?
I don't even remember. I just remember watching this video and laughing at it. And I was like, so that technology, because I wonder how fast that thing can go in China that we saw. I wonder how fast it can go and how close it seemed to be operating on its own. Like it seemed to be just tracking with the officers. Like at one point, there's a line of officers walking and this thing's just rolling beside it.
Right.
So
it's like lane assist on them fancy cars.
I hate that.
I do too.
It's like pulling you out of the.
Dude, my car yells at me sometimes for no reason at all. Like I think it hates me. the Mazda. Like I'll be driving and Chris is with me and it goes beep 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 beep, and I'm like, I'm literally like, she's like, your hand's not on the steering wheel. I'm like, you see it? It's literally on this. It just screams.
So
at
it'll
me.
beep at you if both hands aren't on the steering wheel?
No, if it feels like you're not using your hands to.
That's super annoying. But can't you turn
you
some of that stuff off?
Yeah. I keep it on because just in case.
Just in case you like fall asleep or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I like it. I do like it when it buzzes. It used to beep when you went over the line a little bit, but now it just buzzes and kind of pulls me back over.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to control that because sometimes you want to go over the yellow line.
Right. Without your turn signal.
That's right.
I think that's built into it too. Because I was in a rental several weeks ago when Laura and I were down in Florida, and this thing, like if I didn't turn on the turn signal and try to do a lane change, you could feel it trying to pull me back into my lane.
You're like, I'm the boss, not you.
It was super annoying.
Yeah.
I found it annoying. And then it also had this feature where at one point I was backing out of a parking spot and it felt like I was getting too close to another car. It just like slammed on the brakes.
You're like,
it scared the crap out of me. It like scared me to death, but I'm like,
That's
okay,
funny.
I get all these safety features, safety. It's our primary concern. Like we are obsessed with safety in this country.
I agree, dude. I agree.
We are obsessed with it. And yet we do a terrible job at it.
Of being safe?
Yes, because
especially because it was just July 4th, man. We were blowing stuff up, man. It was awesome.
I know. I saw a post about that too, like when to call the police on July 4th.
Oh, never.
Yeah.
You never call the police on July. Just let us celebrate the United States of America, the birthday of this great nation.
Yeah.
Let us celebrate. Don't call the cops.
It's one day.
Well, it's not one day. That's the problem. Yeah.
It's like
that's
the whole
not a
weekend.
problem. It's literally the whole weekend. We heard some even last night. We're 3 weeks past.
Yeah.
2 weeks past July 4th.
But it was like a do and don't. Do call the police if your neighbor blows his hand off.
If he can't call himself.
Don't call the police if your neighbor is setting off fireworks too close to his garage. Yeah. It was pretty funny. I forget which. I think I shared it on one of the socials.
Oh yeah, you're such a good.
Yeah. Hey, if you don't follow us on the socials, we're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, and we're also on X. I almost said Twitter. Twitter. And you can also find more information about the podcast on www.twocopsonecall.com. So
it's a great
and subscribe to us on YouTube because we're talking about videos on here. If you're listening to us, you're missing out.
Yeah. You get to see 100%. Our beautiful faces.
Well, I don't know about that, but
our antics,
but yeah,
our mannerisms.
So, yeah, I thought it was interesting technology out of China, and I was thinking,
dude, I would beat the pants off of a robot. Dude, when I walk into the stores, like the grocery stores, and there's the robot there, dude, I'll like mess with it, and my son loves it, dude. He cracks up, man. I like.
What do you like shadow box with it or something?
No, I just like walk up to it, and then it stops, and then it turns, and then I mess with it again.
You do realize like all these robots in all these stores, you're like on their list. When AI takes over and they're like bring up their enemies list.
I'm one of
them. You like walk out of your house one day, there'll be like all these robots in front of your house.
I'm like, why are you guys after me, man? That's all right, dude. I'll mow them
down.
That
robot from China will be there, standing there.
I will mow them down. I'm not scared. Stupid robots. Dude, the humanoid ones are wild looking, man. They're usually real short. They're freaky. Yeah, they're wild. Dude, they can do front flips. I can't do a front flip.
I saw this one the other day that they were filming it running down the street, turning, making moves, and there was like this cameraman who was filming it and taking pictures of it and stuff, and he was getting super close to it. I'm like, dude, you're brave, man. They freak me out a little bit.
Dude,
I'm telling you, I've seen too many Terminator movies.
And the problem is you can't choke them out.
You can't do anything.
Well,
you can, but the problem is you probably get electrocuted doing it.
I wonder if it means that like samurai swords are going to come back instead of like, I wonder if they're going to put like, dude, they can't put like armor on them. Like, I guess they could, but that's going to get real expensive. So they're going to be like throwaway. They're going to be, dude, you see the stuff that's made in China. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Well, no, I think the stuff made in China that gets sent to us is generally terrible. But that robot,
you're giving China way too much.
Dude, almost everything we own, have here, there's a component of it made in China. They know what they're doing, especially when it comes to electronics.
Dude, bring it, China. We will destroy you.
Dude, you're definitely on the robot list now.
You think?
Yeah.
You think the robots are listening to me?
What do you think about all this does all the technology and law enforcement, does it ever like exhaust you?
I mean, I'm not on the road anymore, so I don't know that it bothers me that much. Like I was out of patrol, like basically like computers were we didn't use them a lot. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have RoboCop or whatever.
When I first started, I didn't even have a computer.
That's what
in the
I'm saying.
car.
So like we had like the DOS system. It looked like the DOS system. It was like green and black.
Right.
Like that's really all I had. I think I ran plates like maybe 3 or 4 times in a car. Yeah. So I didn't have all that tech.
I think the tech, I always used to kind of give like the old heads a hard time because they would be like, oh my word, I can't keep up with all this technology. And
yeah, the dinosaurs.
And now I'm like, can we not have another program, another password? I mean, right. I have a password protected app on my phone for all my passwords.
Right.
Like it's insane. And then I go in and I can't remember my password. Then I got to go into my password protected password list and I got to edit my passwords and I got to keep up to date with them. And then there's a program that I got to get into and I haven't been in it 2 weeks. And I'm like, I have no idea what my password is. And then I changed my password and I forgot to edit it in my password app. And it's like,
it's going to be crazy when passwords become just biometrics. Like all passwords.
Like it just scans your
retina or whatever. Yeah. Like that's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'll be convenient.
Right.
But like that's
getting closer to the
scary.
Mark.
Getting scary.
Closer to the mark. But yeah, no, I think generally there's been a lot of like things in technology that have helped us do our job. But I think a lot of the technology has also taken us off of the street. It's taking patrol officers off of the street because there is so much information out there, so many forms, so many websites, so many things you now have to do for every single call. I think it's helped in some ways, but I think it's also been a disservice to the profession because you're so distracted when you're in your car and when you're out of your car because you have so many things going on. And then you're also getting pulled off of the street. I mean, the other day I did, and some of this is just a paperwork thing.
Right.
The other day I did it was like my whole shift was pretty much paperwork.
Yeah.
Now I'm also, a supervisor, so I have other duties.
Yeah. Well, paperwork's important because you got to document all the things that happened.
Yeah. So I don't know. The other thing that's been really, really bothering me. You good?
Yeah.
The other thing that's really been bothering me that I've noticed, why do we tint the back of police cars? Is it just?
I never thought about it, dude.
I've been thinking about it.
Now I'm thinking about
it. So like I understand manufacturers like, Ford, their SUVs come with the back tinted. Is it just because of that? They don't want to make police packages that aren't tinted? Is it some sort of like way to protect the identity of a prisoner? We don't want to be able to see him. I just think it's a huge safety issue, especially at night. I hate the fact that I can put someone in the back of my car and I literally cannot see them in the back.
I gotcha.
I think
like if you're outside your car, you can't see them.
Yes, I cannot see them in the back of my car. And then I'm blind. Like if I need to talk to them or do anything, and again, granted, we're patting people down for weapons. Or if they're under arrest, we're searching them before we're putting them back there. But there's been cases where cops have missed something. There's also been cases of people who can like flip the cuffs to the front, double jointed, able to get out. That's never happened to me, but there's cases like that out there. I hate at night. I'll like pop a door blind. Like I'm opening that back door into the
not
cruiser,
knowing what you're getting
blind.
into. Yeah.
Like I can't see the guy at all. And I'm like, why do we do this? Like we need to change this.
Do it, man. You're a boss now.
I'm going to start.
Rip it off.
But I think that they're manufactured windows. I don't think it's like normal tint.
Yeah,
I don't know. That literally has nothing to do with this podcast, but all right. It's just something I noticed that I'm like, why do we do this? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So I think we need to change it. I'll start a.
Are there videos out there of police or people fighting robots?
I'm sure there are. I have not seen them.
I'm gonna check that out.
Check it out, but
I'm interested. I bet I mean, we destroy robots,
Yeah.
dude. I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah.
But
All right, moving on. Let's do the update on Officer Lunsford's case.
yeah.
This got passed on to me by a family member of Officer Lunsford. I'm not going to go back into that, rehash all the details of that. If you want to learn more about that case, go back to episode 6 of season 2 on March 25th of this year. But Officer Lunsford was charged with manslaughter, right? I think he was found guilty of manslaughter. Voluntary manslaughter is what he was found guilty of. And so there's been an ongoing case involving that verdict.
Right.
Due to the fact of possible bias by the one of the jurors, the head juror, and also due to a discrepancy in the alternates and the regular jurors.
Correct.
So again, go to episode 6 of season 2 to hear more about those discrepancies. But the defense for Officer Lunsford has been doing, it's
Filing
motions, trying to get this verdict overturned due to some of these issues. So this article was shared to me from the Las Cruces Bulletin. The title of the article was New Mexico Supreme Court quashes Brad Lunsford request for juror to testify. So basically what they were saying is the juror, it's not, what's the, dude, I'm struggling this morning. Not the head juror. What do they call it? The juror that speaks for the jury.
I'm just going to let you struggle for a little bit. The foreperson.
Thank you.
I was just going to sit there for a little bit and just let you look like an absolute buffoon, but I'm your guy, dude. I'm here to help you out.
You got to help me,
The
Gary.
foreperson.
Yeah, the foreperson. Thank you.
All right,
so the foreperson, the juror who speaks for the jury, it was shown by the defense a level of biasness from this person, and they made a motion, and they wanted this juror to testify regarding those biases.
Right, like lying in voir dire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like legitimately lying in voir dire, which we can't have in a justice system if we want it to be fair and legitimate. So they filed a motion. So this article says New Mexico Supreme Court sided with Attorney General Raul Torres, this far left Attorney General, by stopping the district court's decision to require a juror to testify in former Las Cruces police officer Brad Lunsford's case. So in other words, the lower court had said, hey, we're going to have this juror testify about these alleged biases that this foreperson lied about during voir dire. The Supreme Court in New Mexico said, no, we're not going to do that. Lunsford's defense requested a new trial, arguing that the former officer did not receive a fair trial earlier this year due to the judge improperly replacing jurors. That was another part of this. They said that alternate jurors or people who thought they were alternate jurors were actually then in the jury room reaching a verdict, and there was a confusion about that. So that, and then also this alleged juror bias was in this motion, and the New Mexico Supreme Court said, no, we're not going to make this foreperson testify. The defense requested that a jury accused of bias be required to court testify. Again, they denied that. The state Supreme Court announced its decision and quashed the order, meaning that the juror no longer has to testify. Torres also highlighted in a statement after this. He said he praised the ruling and said that jurors must be able to deliberate freely without fear of being called to testify or having their identities exposed after a verdict is rendered. Torres also highlighted the importance of protecting the finality and integrity of a juror's decision and saying that it is essential to maintaining public trust in our criminal justice system.
Seems wild, dude.
The comments by Attorney General Raul Torres at the end of the article are so rich to me. He says, protect the finality and integrity and essential to maintaining public trust in our criminal justice system. And I'm like, well, what about the defense finding that there was a mistake, whether it was purposeful?
Admittedly, by the judge himself, yeah.
The judge admitted that there was a mistake. Whether it was purposeful or by accident, which jurors were alternates and ultimately which ones were used to reach the verdict. And what about the juror who showed this huge level of bias and lied about it during voir dire? How does that protect the integrity of the justice system? How does that maintain the public trust? That's what I would ask AG Raul Torres. How do those motions made and admissions by the judge that there was a mistake made in the jury pool about alternates and the actual jurors who arrived at the verdict, and some work done by the defense team suggesting that had the people who were actually supposed to be in that room reaching a verdict would have probably helped Officer Lunsford and either resulted in a hung jury or a decision of not guilty. So how does that, and how does the fact that the defense was able to prove and present evidence, this isn't just hearsay, they actually presented articles, a podcast the foreperson was on that showed that this foreperson absolutely had a level of biasness against the police, and then lied about that during voir dire because they have the records of the questions that were asked during voir dire. How does that protect the integrity of the justice system? How does that improve public trust? It seems like there's just such a desire by the AG to railroad Officer Lunsford.
And I don't like that he said the finality of it. Like, that's the process that we have in this great nation, that you can, like, a verdict is a verdict, right?
Right.
But if something is messed up, you have the ability to file court proceedings to make sure that was right. Like, because
file motions, appeal.
Yeah, because the whole idea is, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Like, no matter what it takes, let's get it right. Even for murderers that they did it. Like, they can be in jail for 40 years and file another motion that something happened during their trial, or there was a mess up in evidence or DNA or whatever.
Right.
They can file. It's not final.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not.
Right.
You have the ability to file these things. So it's kind of weird for an AG to say that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't understand why, as a New Mexico Supreme Court, and again, I wasn't in the courtroom, I didn't hear the presentations made or anything like that, but why wouldn't the New Mexico Supreme Court look at what's presented to them by defense and be like, you know what, we probably should have this foreperson.
Let's err on the side of caution.
Yeah,
right. Because you're literally talking about someone who, like, it's a big deal.
Right.
So, like, let's get it right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me. Again, you can go back and listen to our past episodes about Officer Lunsford and
that's
the case
brutal
against
news.
him. Yeah, it is brutal news. I don't know what the next step is. I'm sure there's going to be more motions, more appeals. They're still fighting. And of course, which was pointed out to me by this family member of Officer Lunsford, is that, of course, the photo they used in this article is after the verdict's reached, Officer Lunsford being placed in handcuffs by the sheriff deputies in the courtroom. That's the photo that they use. And oh man, it makes me sick because Officer Lunsford, he goes to work. He did not make a decision to have to shoot someone. Well, he did. He made a decision to have to shoot someone, but that decision was based on the actions and resistance and absolute horrible decisions of the
criminal behavior.
Yeah, criminal behavior. Yeah, so we'll keep following that.
Yeah,
and see what happens. See what happens with that. Because he shouldn't have been found guilty. 100% should have not been found guilty. And there's just too many questions about that verdict to just wash our hands of it and be like, it is what it is. Like, I think I'm glad that the family and the defense team for Officer Lunsford is continuing to fight for him and see what they can do for him. So see what happens.
That's right.
So the other thing we want to talk about was this article. I saw this article a while ago. Well, let me see when it was out. It was out in May, and I kind of like just bookmarked it, but never really dived into it. And it came up in my bookmarks. So I was like, I want to talk about this. And it's this alarming trend. This author or the writer of this article, the person who's doing this investigation, Kathleen Diaz, I think is how you say her last name. She had this article titled, "Why are rural cops dying at higher rates and why is no one doing anything about it?" And this appeared on Police One. So I opened up this article and I'll just read a quick highlights from it. She said that in 2019, she began tracking the number of officers shot, specifically in rural areas. So she looked at sworn officers shot feloniously or a blue on blue that would not have happened but for the suspect's violent actions. She included local, tribal, state, and federal officers together because she wasn't looking at where the violence happened. She was looking at where the violence happens rather than who signs the paycheck. So She wasn't looking at agency sizes. She was looking at where did these situations and where this violence happened. She took into consideration off-duty officers and counted if they were acting in their sworn capacity when the attack took place, again, in what she considers a rural area. So what did she define as a rural area? She said the definition of rural, obviously that's super, subjective, but she looked at populations of 30,000 or fewer residents, and then she also broke it out into a smaller category of fewer than 11,000 residents.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so back in 2024, the first officer to die by felonious gunfire last year, and the only one killed in a shooting in January is an example. Deputy Jeremy Malone died in a gun battle on a traffic stop in a Mississippi town of just about 3,000 people. So that was like the first one in 2024 that she referenced in this article. She said in August of 2024, a total of 27 officers were shot. 19 of them, or 70%, were on rural or remote places. Again, that's 30,000 residents or less. So she goes down through this article and is talking about why did these things happen and what does the 6-year trend show? Because again, she's been looking at this for 6 years. She said it shows a disproportionate number of officers from small, rural, and remote places do get shot each year, and an even more disproportionate number of those die of their wounds. Things like that don't happen here is part of the problem she thinks she's seen. And because they never have, they never will, is kind of like a comforting lie that citizens, decision makers, and bean counters tell themselves about the pretty little towns and wild places where they live. She thinks that's a main reason why this is happening. She thinks it's driven by money and resources and just this complacency, really, from the people that are making decisions. Not
from police. I mean, I think that's a big one, but
right.
Maybe she gets into that.
Yeah, I think I want to get into that a little bit here as we talk about this. So she broke it down. Officers shot population 11,000, over 11,000 to 30,000 in 2024. 28 officers were shot. 4 died of their wounds. 1 was saved by ballistic armor, and 6 were shot in ambush-style attacks. And then she compares that to the national totals. And then in communities where the population is less than 11,000, 61 officers were shot. 12 died of their wounds. 6 were saved by ballistic armor. 13 were shot in ambush attacks. She said the trend holds again, as it has every year since I began the project. The number of officers shot dips in smaller towns and then rises in the very smallest places instead of falling again. It's counterintuitive, but very consistent. So she's looking at it not based on numbers, but proportional to population levels. Gotcha. And everything like that. She asked the question, but why so many year after year, and why don't things change? She says there are several possibilities for the disparity. Maybe it's because rural officers rarely have backup, and that makes bad guys feel bold. Maybe there are gaps in training that small departments aren't addressing because of staffing shortages or budget constraints or complacency. Distance from sophisticated trauma care.
That's a huge one.
That's huge. Almost certainly plays into the high fatality rate, although I can't prove that without help from other researchers with more information in each case. I do think that is a huge one. I mean, we've even seen it in our area, and when you and I worked for Lancaster City, having a premier trauma hospital in our jurisdiction, 100% kept our murder rate, our homicide rate low.
Oh, for sure. Dude, guys gotten shot in the head.
Yeah.
Say, like, it's wild. Like, that's wild. Yeah.
It's really wild what
trauma centers can do.
And what medicine.
And when it doesn't take 40 minutes to get somewhere or more,
right?
Probably more in some of those places,
right?
To get to an actual trauma center. Like there's places even in larger towns that it still takes 30 minutes and you're going to a hospital, but not a trauma center.
Yeah.
Trauma centers are life-saving facilities, I guess.
Right. Right. Yeah. And even as,
but you can't put a trauma center in an 11,000 town.
Right.
You can't, I mean, it's not feasible.
You can. The problem is it's about money. A lot of times it's about money, and it's about, do you have the people available to work in those places, and how far are people willing to travel to work in a premier trauma center like that?
I mean, you're not going to have, in reality, you're not going to have a trauma center in every single small town.
No.
Throughout the nation.
No. I mean, they're generally put in higher population areas.
Right.
Which makes more sense. If you have a bigger population, you're going to have more people that need trauma related help. So that makes sense. But it's also, let's not get it twisted. It's also a financial decision. Like trauma centers, hospitals are making money, and they're going to make the most money where the most people are.
Sure.
So you could put a trauma center wherever you wanted. You're just not going to make as much money.
No, you're not going to be, it's not feasible. Like you're not going to be able to.
Right.
Sustain that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because you don't have the amount of people to work there, and you don't have enough money to come in to sustain it. That's all I'm saying. It's still a financial situation.
Okay.
Everything's about money, Gary. That's all I'm saying.
Of course it is.
I'm just saying you could put a trauma center in these rural areas.
I just can't, dude. I can't with you. Then why don't you have a trauma center like in your backyard? I mean, you could do it, Anthony. It's a silly argument.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just making the point that you could if you really wanted to.
There we go.
So this reminds me of a conversation I had with a guy one time. He was like, he told me that the reason they put prisons, like large state and federal prisons, in the middle of nowhere is because of racism. And I was like, I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, they did. They don't put like large prisons in large urban areas. I'm like, yeah, because people don't want a prison near them.
Right.
They don't want like people
like society
doesn't want a prison like close to the rest of society. That's why they put them out in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with like giving jobs to black people, black and brown people. It has everything to do with people don't want a prison in their backyard. So of course they're going to put it out in the middle of nowhere. Plus, it's just a safety thing. So,
or where there's land, or where there's
where they can build it and
that's funny.
But it was an interesting conversation. But yeah, I thought the article was interesting for me personally, just working in an urban environment. You and I worked in Lancaster City. We now work for different agencies, and the agency I work for now is much smaller. And in her parameters, in her study, would be considered a rural area because it has a population of less than 30,000. So yeah, I didn't know. Do you have any experiences, or do you have any thoughts on why that may be, why that number is disproportionate in rural areas where officers are getting hurt and killed?
So it probably is the small town mentality, which the officers in that town also have probably also have somewhat of that mentality at times, that nothing happens here. Or I know everybody, no one's going to hurt me. I've known them my whole life. They know my family. They've worked in the same factories. They've done whatever. Everybody knows everybody.
Right.
I've noticed that just where I am now, like just doing different things, like not in a rural area or in a rural area. And it's just everybody knows everybody's business.
Right.
It's kind of like you're safe because everybody knows everything about everybody.
Right.
So I think that probably plays into it. And also, like, I don't know if this is true, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because that's what I do. Like, if you're in because I have some of this mentality. If you're in a small area, you just want to be left alone.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you don't want your freedoms, your liberties to be, I guess, pushed down.
Okay.
So like your mentality, you're not used to that. You're not used to authorities being in your life, probably.
So are you saying that the people that live in rural areas, and that obviously this is a broad generalization,
Super broad, yeah,
are generally just want to be left alone and maybe push back harder against any type of government authority?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think that to be true.
Okay, like a like don't tread on me type attitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that could be part
and
of
having access to guns, having access to shoot guns, having access to, I think you just have more of the ability to train, I'll say train in like big quotes, but like shoot guns basically. Yeah. And do what you want. You know what I mean? Kind of do what you want.
I think there is an element in some rural areas of that, but my experience has been working in an urban environment and now working in a rural environment. Generally, the support for the police is higher.
Yeah,
like the people generally are much more supportive of what the police do.
But that's who you hear from. Yeah, there's still that super small percent that's a criminal. That's always been a criminal.
Right.
That 1% though is bigger in a rural area because of the number of people proportionally.
Yeah.
So like that criminal, that animal, that wolf is there, and I think they have more access
to weapons, more of a desire to push back against that authority.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could have a point. I think.
Well, thank you. I don't think maybe it's not the major point.
I don't think it's the main point.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a possible point, but yeah, I don't know. Like the feeling I have working in a rural area is much more support, much more there. Like generally, I get way less pushback in the rural area where I work than when I worked in the urban area.
When you're dealing with someone, you mean?
When I'm dealing with people.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Even when I'm dealing with people in the criminal element, I think one of the craziest, most wild things to me when I switched agencies was the level of cooperation and willingness to admit fault from people engaged in the criminal element. You know what I mean? Like I would deal with people and I was so used to in an urban environment having everything was a fight. Everything was a fight.
Yeah. Parking ticket was a fight.
Everything. Every single thing you did was confrontational. Whether it be verbal confrontation or physical confrontation. Like I just felt like every single day I was in like combat mode in an urban area. That really disappears as you move out into rural area, because even when I've dealt with the criminal element in a rural area, I was shocked. I think I've gotten more people to admit to crimes in a rural area in the short time I've been there than I ever did in an urban area. Like you go up to someone and be like, yo, man, this is why I'm here. You know, why'd you steal from that store? Yeah, you got me. I did. I'm like, what?
Right.
I don't have to like argue with you.
That's
or fight.
Interesting.
It's just like it seems like there's a higher level of respect for my position than in an urban area.
Okay.
But I think what that does then at times is it drives like a level of complacency.
Like, hey, this guy admitted, this guy's going to admit too. He's not going to stab me with a knife.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If I call this guy up, he's just going to meet me at court and turn himself in, you know.
Right.
Which happens.
Right.
Like when I started working in the rural environment I'm in now, like everyone, the officers around me were like calling people, hey, you got this, turn yourself in.
Arrest by appointments.
I'm like, what are you doing?
They're the best.
They're like, oh, yeah, people. And I'm shocked by how many people will just literally turn themselves in, give you a confession, admit fault, and turn themselves in. And so I think sometimes that works against officers when it comes to then tactics and that fight against complacency, because I think complacency grows like you said, that small town feel. We know everyone. Yeah, that guy, he's a knucklehead, but he usually he's good to go. Like you catch him, he'll admit, he'll turn himself in. He's not going to give you a hard time. And there's like this complacency. I mean, even recently, I just saw a video, small town. I don't know how small the town is, but they pull up to do a traffic stop on a guy they know is on federal probation for weapons offenses. And they had a reason to stop him, and they check him out, and it's just super lackadaisical. Like the officer's knows the person by name. Hey man, Tom, whatever his name was, what are you up to? What's going on? And right away, like as a police officer watching the video, you start seeing the red flags. You're like, the officer's asking him a question, he doesn't answer the question.
Right. At
one point, the officer, the female officer, you don't even realize there's a male officer on the scene. He's back behind the car camera. You have a female officer up at the driver's door. Even that, like, why isn't your cover? Maybe he arrived just as this happened, but if not, why isn't your cover up at the passenger side, like checking the interior of that car, keeping an eye on it? And the officer's like, do you have any weapons in the car? And there's like dead silence. I'm like, that's a really bad sign.
The hair on the back of your neck. Yeah,
that should make you be like, hey, something bad is about to happen here, and something bad did happen. Like she directed this guy out of the car, no control, just open the door, kind of holding the door, direct him out. Boom, he's out. Pop, 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 right into the female officer, and she survived. I think her vest stopped it, and then the male officer all of a sudden appears on the scene, and I think both of them end up shooting, and I think they killed that suspect. But I was just like, it was just like a different. The level of complacency on the stop, was huge. So
it is interesting that the number of interactions you have in a small town is probably way larger number of interactions with the public that you have in a larger city. It is interesting though. Like it's a good point that more officers are dying in smaller towns proportionally because you're interacting with a smaller amount of people, but you're getting more officers hurt. That's interesting, and I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, and
it's hard for my mind to think about numbers. I'm not a numbers guy.
Yeah, in a large urban area, you're dealing with just way more people, and
you're going to 15, 20 calls a shift, and you're doing 13 person stops. You're doing car stops, and my understanding is in a smaller town, you might get one call a day, right?
Right.
You might interact with one person who was going 35 and 25.
Right. Yeah, so in an urban environment, you're dealing with more people that aren't part of that 1% wolf part of the population, and your percentages are better. Like you're dealing with more people that are decent, that aren't engaged in criminal activity, and in a rural area, those interactions, a higher percentage of them are people that are actually engaged in criminal activity.
I guess that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't know,
because it's like fishing, because it's almost easier to find because it's a smaller pool, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's still 1%. I think, you know what I mean. Like it's still that.
In some ways, it's not easier because in your urban environments, you have a higher percentage of people that are engaged in criminal activity because we know that the crime rates in urban areas are way higher than they are in rural areas.
Yeah.
So again, I think all those things drive to this level of complacency. Like I think my struggle in an urban environment was hypervigilance.
Yeah.
And now in a rural area, my struggle is complacency because most people are compliant. Most of your interactions are with people who aren't pushing back, who aren't arguing with you, who aren't fighting with you. So you have that complacency.
Anthony, in reality, it probably is the trauma centers. Because you probably have the same number of officers getting shot, they're just getting saved because they're a 5-minute drive from a trauma center.
I mean, I think that's a huge part of it.
It's probably what it is.
I do think it's
I think we solved this problem.
Yeah.
More trauma centers. Put them in your backyard.
Don't worry about the money. No, I do think that is a huge part of it, but I do think that complacency also drives it. I've been,
Like, do you think small towns take your agency out of it? But like, do you think smaller towns are trained as well as urban places?
I think most of them are not.
I think so too. I think that's probably part of the problem.
And again, I think it's a money problem and a resource problem.
When you're in a small town, and we're talking small towns, like 11,000 is super small.
Right.
Like,
but 30,000 isn't that small.
no, that's pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't leave that area.
Right.
Like, it's probably homegrown people.
Right.
Like larger places, it's people from all over. It's probably a lot from that area, but there's a lot coming in.
Right. Yeah.
Just because it's a numbers game. So again, you've lived there, you know everybody. You're kind of, if it's a smaller department that's not like super, I hate this word, progressive, like training, progressive in their training,
Right.
or like looking at modern stuff, or having the equipment, or
Right. And I think
that's money too, though. That costs
Yeah.
money to send people to training.
Yeah, but I think that the money argument, as much as I've made it during this conversation, it can be a lazy excuse too, because you can engage in, if you're a chief, or a sergeant, a leader of a platoon, whatever it may be, you can do training that doesn't cost any money. You can watch videos, you can tabletop, use of force videos, you can talk about tactics, you can practice tactics without having any equipment.
Sure.
Like, you don't need money to do that. You just need people who are willing to engage in that type of training, and that is mainly driven by leadership.
Yeah.
So,
And it is harder. Smaller areas or smaller departments. You have one guy working a shift.
Right.
You have two guys working a shift. You have
Right.
nobody working at night.
Right.
There's all kinds of
And
problems.
I mean, even in the agency I work at now, like, that is a constant struggle, because you maybe only have one or two officers working at a time, maybe three, but how do you train?
Right.
How do you,
Because you
don't
still
have
got to
the
answer the
manpower.
calls. You got to have
Right.
people out there for the vehicle accidents. You got to have people out there
Right.
to do the things that police are supposed to do. How you going to pull them off the street now?
Right.
The public's not really being served.
Right. And in an urban area, you just have more manpower to be able to take this group of people, train them, while you have a group of people out on the street. And so agencies need to get creative about being like, hey, we're having a training day on your day off. You're gonna be compensated for it, but we're doing a block of training on this day when you're off, and you don't have to worry about listening to your radio. The other shift, someone else is taking care of the calls. You don't have to gear down, but listen to your radio. And then if a call comes in, you got to gear back up
and run out
and go take care of the call. So you do have to put a lot of thought and effort into how you're training, and but it can be done. It can be done, and the officers need to be willing to buy in on that and be like, okay, this was supposed to be my day off, but now I got to go train for 4 hours, or I got to go train for a full day. And when I hear officers complaining about that, I'm just like, you're being paid.
Right.
This is part of the job. You signed up to do a job that requires a level of training and expertise, and the only way we can get that accomplished in a way that best serves you is having you in on a day off, so you don't have to worry about the street.
And that's a mentality thing for individual officers, like wanting to do that. Right. Because if you have a
forced to,
or if you have a mentality that nothing's going to happen, that I don't need this training.
Right.
It's a waste of my time. I want to go fishing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a
mindset thing.
Sure, yeah.
And I think too, there's a lot of truth and validity to the fact that, I was always told, like, an officer in an urban area, and this is not a proven fact or factoid or stat, but an officer who works in an urban area has, within like 5 years, has just as much experience, if not more, than an officer who works in a rural area for 20 years.
Sure.
And I think that's true. But I think the flip side of that is that your officers that work in rural areas are much better suited and understand how their mouth and how they talk to people help them do the job.
Right.
I think officers in rural areas generally are better communicators with people than officers in urban areas. Officers in urban areas can start writing checks like crazy at a scene because they know, hey, I'm going to have an army of like 5-10 guys here when it goes south. An officer in a rural area is much more reserved, laid back, tries to, get compliance through talking and
you're going to say it.
I don't want to say
You're going to say it.
De-escalation.
There it is. Your favorite word.
But I think and both have their positives and negatives. But again, what I've seen then at times is a slowness to act.
Yeah.
When a situation is to a point where you need to act, like flipping that switch and doing what you need to do. Again, I get it because you may not have the backup you need to do that as safely as you would maybe in an urban area.
Right.
So there's that tension there. So I think that's part of it. I think complacency is a huge thing. Like generally, and again, I'm saying this working on both sides here, the complacency, because the majority of your interactions with the public are positive or are not confrontational.
Right.
And
you're going to miss the cues. You're going to miss the violent indicators more
because you don't have the reps.
Because you don't have the reps. Yeah. It's all about reps. Yeah. I think
it's a lot about reps.
Like dealing with people, seeing the indicators before, and then you can react to them instead of missing them.
Right. And just like doing the same thing over and over again. Obviously, like the area I work in now, traffic stops are a lot more prevalent than in the area I worked before. And, those reps of forcing yourself to do things like passenger side approach. You stop a car and you're like, you don't have any indicators of anything. It's a traffic stop for a minor violation. But I'm a big passenger side approach during the day, at night, whenever it may be. But even, there are times where I'm like, I don't feel like doing a passenger side approach.
It's just easier to do a driver's side.
It looks like a woman driver. It's just easier to do the driver's side approach. But just forcing yourself, like the other day, I had one where I stopped this car and I had to do a passenger side approach, and I didn't have to. I was like, I'm going to do a passenger side approach on this, and my practice is, and again, it's interesting, like talking to guys who work in rural areas, they're more concerned about, I want to do a driver's side approach so I can smell better and quicker and faster if there's any alcohol emanating from my driver.
Yeah.
Because DUIs are a lot more prevalent. My experience working in an urban area, DUIs were not a thing that was pushed as hard because you didn't have the time to do a 3-hour DUI investigation. and my argument against that is, would you rather be able to smell the breath of a driver or have tactics that could possibly save your life by doing a passenger side approach? So I stopped this car and I go back behind my car, and usually what I do behind my cruiser is I just stop for a second and I look through my back window, through the windshield, and I just look at the people in the vehicle and I just check them. Is anyone moving? Is a door popped? Is there anything to cause me concern? Because I don't want to just blindly do the passenger side approach. And so I do that and I come around and there's like super tall grass on the side of the road where I'm at. And I'm like, this is like tick infested. I'm like, well, would I rather get a tick? Or would I rather get a bullet? And again, like that type of, and people are like, that seems a little aggressive, like a little too high strung. And what I always, say to people is, but it's that 1% chance that's going to really hurt you. So you have to be prepared for the 1%.
Yeah.
You can't just base everything you do on the 99%, because the 1% is what's going to hurt you. So I did my passenger side approach and everything, and then I'm back at the house later, and my daughter's like, Dad, what's crawling on your head? I'm like, I don't know. And here it was a tick.
It was a tick. The tick got you, man.
It hadn't got in there yet. But
that's funny.
You know, that type of stuff I think is I think it's easy to blame, you know, the politicians in a rural area, you know, that are dealing with less resources, less money, for good training and blame them and say you're not willing to bring better training in. But I mean, the bottom line is a lot of times they don't have the money to do that. They don't have the finances to do that. I'm thankful that the rural area I work in, that there are a lot of resources,
lots of resources,
you know, to do that and to have that training. But some places aren't like. There's some of these communities where they have one officer.
Yeah, and I think it's also the culture of that department. Like the culture of the department is huge. If you have. Because the culture is passed down just like it is in real life, right? It's passed down from those who went before you. So like it's really hard to change a culture environment in your police department if it's really messed up. Right? It takes a lot of time to fix that. So it probably takes probably 2 or 3 generations of officers.
I don't think it takes
To actually change the culture, I think it does. You can make changes to make people do certain things, but like for them to want to do those things, you know what I mean? Like because you can discipline the pants off guys and make them leave, or you can, which is not changing the culture.
No,
but getting them from get-go, training them how they should be vigilant,
right?
Doing passenger side approaches, whatever, understanding that this might be the bad one, right?
Right.
Having that mindset. That does take time.
Yeah, it does for sure. But I think strong leadership can flip that culture faster than weak leadership.
I agree.
And I think that's another facet to this conversation is if you have strong leaders that are like, hey, listen, like I may not have the resources to get you simunitions, or we don't have
we'll use squirt guns, dude.
The budget. Yeah.
Right.
Like seriously, like you can train without money.
Yeah.
It may not be the best training or the most
it's not Instagram
training.
Worthy.
Right.
It's not Facebook worthy.
Yeah. But you can train, you know, with you know, one thing I do with my guys is we have roll call training every month. You know, you can train, you can do tabletop exercises, you can do decision-making exercises, you can break down videos, you can look at a guy on your department or platoon that's good in building, clearing. Hey, we're going to clear the police station. You know, you can train without money.
Sure.
It's more of like a strong leadership thing, a strong like a culture change to be like, hey, we're going to change, like you were saying.
Yep.
Like we're going to train more and trying to get people in a different mindset that, hey, 99% of the time we're good to go, but we have to train for the 1%. We can't just rest on our laurels in the 99% because that 1% is what's going to hurt you. So, you know, I think it comes down to personal responsibility of each officer too. Like, you know, if you're listening to this, whether you work in an urban area or a rural area, you need to be responsible for your training.
Yep.
Like, are you reading articles? Do you understand case law? Do you understand your use of force? Are you driving around aimlessly in those slow times and not thinking about anything? Are you running scenarios in your head?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about what am I going to do when, you know, it hits the fan? Like, how am I going to react? Like, if I have an incident here, you know, where would I set up a command post? Where would I set up a staging area? Like, how am I, what resources am I going to need to call in to deal with this? Like, I think, you know, so some of it for sure a lot of it comes down to the personal responsibility of the officer, but I think a lot of it lies on the shoulders of the leaders too.
Yep.
For sure. But yeah, I don't know. I think, you know, one thing I would urge anyone, wherever you work, is practice that when thinking, not that if thinking. Like that was something that
practice the when
thinking,
not the if.
Yeah, because it's something that I learned early in my career. You know, I was thinking, you know, if this happens, then, you know, I'll do this. And I was like, well, if I'm only at if, then it's like a 50-50 chance of happening. But if I have that when thinking, then I'm at 100%. This is going to happen 100%.
And you've already run it.
You've already run it.
And you might not do it exactly how you ran it in your head, but like you at least had a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will tell you 100%, those scenarios and those things that you run in your head, and you think about ahead of time, like, hey, if this happens, I'm going to do this, will assist you in your career in those high stress critical incidents. Because I can point to specific examples or specific things that happened to me that I had no mental preparation before they happened.
Yeah.
Were not even on my radar, and like messed with me more than those situations where I had practiced that when this happens, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Those scenarios went way smoother. Like simple
and
things.
even the aftermath, I think, because the aftermath is better for you mentally.
Huge.
Getting through the crazy situation when you've already thought about it.
Right. Like reading Grossman's books, one back here behind me on killing, on combat. Like I had read those books. I had thought about what I would do in a situation like that. I was prepared for mentally what would happen in those situations and then mentally what would happen after. But scenarios like, where I got bit by one of our own canines, which was super dicey, not prepared at all for it.
Because you never thought it would happen.
No, it was never even on my radar. That one affected me. But even thinking about things like, I had mentally rehearsed and prepared for when I have to use my car as a weapon, when I have to hit a suspect, things like that. Like, our guys think of that when I have to actually, when I'm in a fight and I actually have to maybe pull my knife and stab someone in the neck, like,
yeah, right.
Seriously, like,
pull your gun from the car, right?
Yeah, pull your gun from the car. Have you practiced that? Have you unloaded your gun and tried, just with a seatbelt on, getting that gun out? Are you checking if you carry a rifle in your car? Are you checking that? If you're checking, are you checking that rifle?
Seatbelt on. Are you crazy?
In the urban area, I don't think I wore my seatbelt almost my entire career.
The only time I put my seatbelt on is when you were driving. We were going to chase a car. I was like, oh, I'm going to die. So
towards the end of my career, I got better at being able to put it on. And
they do say you'll never do that, and I did it a bunch of times.
Yeah,
but they say you'll never do it, but I don't know.
It's training though.
It is.
You have to think about it, and you have to practice it.
Yeah, and you drove like an idiot a lot, so I always had to put mine on. I like the guys who put it on behind them. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you're crazy.
Just so it stops dinging.
Yeah.
Stop getting that warning. But those are the types of things that you if you think about that, and then you're just going to a hot call and you're picking up your pace, go to a hot call, and you put on your seatbelt and you rep that, then you're probably gonna remember to do it in a high speed pursuit.
Which you should do.
You should 100%. You should be wearing your seatbelt. But in an urban area, I never did. Hardly ever wore my seatbelt, and in the rural area now, I always have my seatbelt on because you're driving at higher speeds.
And the other side of that is true. Practice taking it off.
Yeah,
I got to jump out of my car. Practice taking it off.
I remember when I started out here, I was
when you're stopping at the old gas station to get a drink real quick, pull in hot, bam. Take it off real quick and pop your door. Just that's training, man. So you're gonna freak out people around you, but it'd be fun.
What's funny is, like I said, I always wear my seatbelt now, and when I go into an urban area, as soon as I cross the threshold, boom, I pop it off. I'm like, I gotta be able to get out of my car. I gotta be able to get out of my car. So I
went to a training where it actually you worked on getting out of your car, drawing your gun, and shooting. With you have to sweep because the belt's kind of weird and it gets hung up on all your gear all the time. Not mine. I don't have gear anymore. But like, if I'm wearing gear to get out of the car, it's actually it was good training.
Yeah,
and it's super simple, and you could do that. That doesn't cost any money.
No.
Watch a video. Evac in a car.
Practice it.
Watch a video and practice it.
Yeah. It does.
Rep it.
It doesn't rep it. It doesn't take it. That doesn't take money.
Just get your reps in.
Do it safely.
Yeah, do it safely.
Do it with a blue gun, or unload your gun if you're actually drawing.
Yeah, if you're actually
practicing like exiting and drawing, like empty that gun. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah, look, this isn't a training podcast. We're just talking.
We are, but at the same time, I'd be like, I listened to this podcast and they told me to rep this.
Yeah.
We told you to rep it, but not with
rep it safely.
Rep it safely.
Be safe. Yeah. Do the safe things.
So, all right, here I'm going to pop up this video of this
Oh, all right.
in Philly real quick. Here, let's watch
This has nothing to do with policing at all.
No, it absolutely does. It absolutely does.
Okay, sure.
All right, I'm going to play this video real quick, and then we'll talk about it real quick. All right.
Lots happening there.
Dude, I tried to watch this video multiple times and see how many guns are being fired in this video.
Yeah.
This is out of Philly, by the way. Philly, a Ring doorbell camera out of Philadelphia, a shootout. 3 people died in this shootout, and
Really?
I think like 12 or 13 were injured.
Wow.
It was like a mass shooting that our press doesn't cover.
Right.
Because it's in inner city Philadelphia. But I think I counted at least 3 weapons, and if you watch the video again and look across the street, there's like lights that keep popping on at the front of houses that look like they're probably from weapon-mounted lights.
Yeah.
And first of all, these guys have no muzzle control. I can't believe that one guy didn't blow the head off. Like he's like just like, and a guy in front of him starts standing up. I'm like, oh my word, I can't believe he didn't put a bullet right through the back of that guy's head.
I know.
And what do you have, like 20, 30 people on these 2 porches at this place?
I know.
Bodies
just like dropping.
Yeah, they're just dropping,
flailing.
trying to get behind the wall, trying to get small, and it's just like chaos. And I thought it was an interesting video because we constantly we're being hammered with this de-escalation, and officer was rude and he wasn't nice, and I'm just like, what do you want from a police officer who pulls up, who's patrolling proactively in this area, and he sees 2 porches filled with, I'm guessing there's at least 20 people between these 2 porches, maybe more.
Yeah.
Just packed on these porches in a high crime, high drug, high violence area. How do you want that officer to interact with these groups of people?
Man,
or how
sir.
many officers do you want interacting?
What is going on?
Yeah.
Send the social worker in, dude.
I did forget to look at what time of night this was. It doesn't really matter because, as an officer, again, who worked in an urban area, if I pulled into a block and I saw 20 people on a porch, I knew that maybe not at this moment this was going to be a problem, but at some point,
it's probably going to be a problem.
This evening, you're going to have a problem at this residence. You know that based on the area you're in, the atmosphere you're in, that at least one person on that porch has a warrant, one person on that porch is armed, one person on that porch has drugs on them. You know this, okay? Now, obviously, you need reasonable suspicion, probable cause to start diving into pockets and everything like that, but are officers interacting with these groups? Are you bringing in an army? Do you even have the manpower to bring in 10 officers and deal with people on these porches and talk to them? Do you have the capability of sit down the street and listen to see if they're violating the noise ordinance and use that to interact with them? And does our country right now want officers interacting with it? Do they want them being that proactive?
Does the community where that happens want that interaction? Because
had an officer, let's say this never happened, or we never had video of this happening. Let's say an officer is on patrol in that area and says, hey, I got about 20 people hanging out on these 2 porches. I'd like to interact with them. Just mere encounter. Hey guys, what's going on? What's up? You're going to bring an army of officers in there, and they're going to videotape it, and they're going to put it up. We're getting harassed.
Yep.
We're getting harassed. And that
and
harassment.
3 hours later, this happens.
3 hours later, you have 3 people killed and 12 injured. So it's. I think it's an interesting video for people to watch and be like, how would I want an officer to interact with this group of people before this happens to try to prevent this? Yeah. And what is that going to look like? And I'll tell you what it's going to look like. It's going to look extremely aggressive, and it's going to be extremely confrontational, because if you have 3 guys on the porch at least that have guns, who knows how many across the street had guns?
Right.
3 people on that porch were armed. Okay, it's going to be extremely volatile, confrontational. Whether it's just verbally, you're going to get pushback there, and that pushback is likely going to lead to a use of force incident.
Probably.
And then people are going to decide like, well, I didn't like how that looked. Well, do you not like how that looked, or you'd rather have 3 people dead, or would you rather your police department in a high crime area like that be very pointed in their patrol, aggressive in their patrol, and dealing with that effectively and in a aggressive way? Yeah. Like this situation here, before it happened, needed to be dealt with in an aggressive way. Yep. And I'm saying there were blocks like that in Lancaster City at certain points in my career.
And you'd almost take the entire shift.
You'd almost take the entire shift in.
Or you would take the entire shift.
Or you'd at least meet up and be like, hey, I'm going to walk through this block. Can I have at least 1 or 2 guys to walk through with me? Because it wasn't probably safe for one lone officer to walk through the block.
Yeah, you're right. There were times where like we had a problem block, and it was literally just like 3 houses on the block, but they like harassed and made that entire block a terrible place to live.
Right.
People would call and complain. We made lots of drug arrests in that specific block, and I had really good bosses. A lieutenant say, everybody meet here. We're going to pull in hot, and we're going to talk to everybody who's out.
Yeah.
And we would go talk to everybody who's out.
Right.
And it was great. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, it did work. And it was, and you, like you said, it was maybe only like 2-3 houses in that block that were the problem, but they made life absolutely miserable for the good people that lived in that block. And to be able to go in and do that and actually get a thank you,
right?
Like I can't tell you how much that meant to me and guys I worked with when we hit a door, arrested people out of a house, and we were walking past neighbors who like whispered to us, thank you. Not even out loud, because they don't, they don't want to be snitches, but telling you thank you for dealing with that problem. That goes far, far beyond sipping coffee with someone or handing out ice cream cones. Like,
that's exactly right.
Yeah. So
people live in fear in blocks like that.
Right.
It's probably lots of decent people live there.
Yeah.
And these animals are absolutely destroying the neighborhood.
Right. I mean, how many of these rounds went into houses?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it's crazy. One of the guys killed in this was a guy in a wheelchair. Now, I don't know. He had been shot in a drive-by shooting years before and was in a wheelchair. Yeah. So again, I don't know anything about his life, but it seems like he was engaged in a lifestyle that put him in front of gun violence a lot.
Right.
But still, like, we have to decide what we want out of our police. If we don't want confrontation out of them, this is what you're going to have happen in these urban areas. If you want them to be confrontational and dealing with problems like this, then you got to decide that they're not going to come up and be like, "Good evening, ma'am or sir. How is your evening going?
Here's a free ticket to an ice cream.
Yeah, let me give you a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
want
to shoot basketball with me?"
I just saw this video of a chief. And again, I don't know if this vehicle stop was staged, but it was a chief not wearing a vest, not wearing a bulletproof vest. He pulls a vehicle stop, goes to the back of his car. He has a big thing of coffee, like one of those big rectangle coffee things. Pours a cup of coffee, goes up to the driver and gives the driver a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so first of all, if this is staged, this is doing nothing.
Yeah.
Second of all, if it's not staged, where's your vest? Where are your tactics? Yeah. What are you teaching your people?
Yeah, what kind of example are you setting?
And I see these police departments doing it where they do vehicle stops for the sole purpose of giving out gifts, gift cards, coffee, ice cream. And I'm like, so basically what you're training your officers to do is go into a vehicle stop not thinking about tactics, not thinking about anything except what we're going to give that person. What you're going to give that person is law and order. Like that is not the point of a traffic stop. It's wild. Crazy to me.
Oh man.
Crazy to me. But anyways, just keep in mind our officers all over the country are dealing with stuff like this, dealing with people, guys like this. They do not care about, they don't care about themselves.
No, they don't.
And they don't care about anyone around them. And they won't think twice about throwing. That one guy that was shooting, he went to lockback. Yeah. And I don't know how many rounds he had.
Yeah.
He went to lockback.
Yeah. And they'll feel no remorse.
No remorse.
Even if they hit a kid, they would feel no remorse.
Right. And in Lancaster City, we had shootings where kids were hit.
Yep.
And yeah, no remorse. They do not care. They don't care about themselves. And
they don't belong in society. They don't.
No, they belong in prison.
They belong in prison.
And you can say, well, that's super sad. What's their ACE score? Remember ACEs?
Oh yeah.
What's their ACE score? What kind of trauma? Like you can think it's sad and everything, but in this moment, it doesn't matter what their ACE score is. It doesn't matter what trauma they've had in their life. The only thing that matters is they are a public safety concern.
Yep.
And it's not the police's problem to figure out what their ACE score is and what kind of trauma they've had in their life. The police job is to prevent things from happening. And the only way you prevent things like this from happening is proactive, aggressive patrol.
Yep.
But people don't like how that looks.
They can worry about their ACE stuff when they're in prison for 15 years.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they can get the help they need.
Right.
Let somebody else do that. That's not the police's job.
And I always say too, what about those people on the porch that have high ACE scores? I forget what ACE stands for. That have those high ACE scores that aren't engaged in this activity.
Right.
Like we don't praise them. We don't lift them up. Yeah. We just always want to focus on the guy who wants to blast like 20 rounds down a street blindly.
Who got in trouble who was confronted by the police.
Right.
That poor soul.
Yeah, that poor soul. And these guys do not care. One of the saddest things in my career, Gary, I don't want to say the saddest thing. One thing that like bothered me in my career is one of the officer involved shootings I was in. The guy during the interview, I knew the suspect by name. I dealt with him before. The suspect knew me by name.
Yeah.
And during the interview, the suspect told the detective, who you and I both know very well, I wish Weaver would have killed me. I thought that was super sad. I was like, he that's what he thought of his life. So if he thinks that of his life, do you think he cares about anyone else?
Right.
Not an iota. And I don't care what his ACE score is. He's carrying a gun. He's willing to use it.
Yep.
That's wild to me. So,
yeah.
Anyways, Gary, thanks for joining me on this episode of Two Cops, One Call. Once again, being my trusty sidekick. Only letting me flounder a little bit with the
Dude, I was going to let it go. I wanted to let it go.
Dude, you're killing me. You got to help me, man.
I helped you.
I
It just took me a second.
I get to this point where I'm like struggling, and you're just over there.
I struggle sometimes too, man. The words get us sometimes too.
Hopefully the video works on this episode. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube. Last episode we had some trouble. There was no video out.
That's
we
on me.
Apologize for that. We had some technical difficulties. Hopefully those technical difficulties were solved on this episode. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can see these videos that we talk about. I'll also say that on my audio episodes, I use AI to help edit. And sometimes AI, I noticed this on the last episode, they edited out the gunshots because they think it's just noise that we don't want in the podcast. It's not like
AI's not that smart.
Right.
Yeah.
So the audio podcast, it sounds a little more polished because I used AI to edit it, but you aren't getting the full effect.
You gotta get it raw, man.
Yeah. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Watch our
Comment.
videos.
Trigger the algorithm.
Yep. Trigger the algorithm.
Yeah.
I like it.